My only function is the one God gave me, and my happiness and my function are one. It seems a little tricky because you're trying to understand in the sense of what your function is, in the probably trying to squish it into this idea of forgiveness, and that's kind of difficult, kind of wrong about what you are actually, what your function is. So there's two aspects of your function. Yes, the whole entirety of the world and what your function is to forgive the world entirely. Until you do it entirely, you're misunderstanding your function. So along the journey, along the path, the second part of your function is a unique, authentic, original self. This is what you are naturally, an honest, authentic self. So throughout this process of forgiving, you actually, and while you're on the journey of forgiving, you try to be as authentic and as real as possible, which reveals all of the lies and all the deceitfulness and all the struggle. And when you're getting really authentic, getting really real with yourself and with everyone else, then it brings up more areas to forgive. Okay? So if you're not being authentic and real, you're not paying attention to what forgiveness and where forgiveness needs to be applied. So many people think of this as, oh, all I need to do is forgive the world. Yes, you do, but along that journey, until you actually do it, which happens like that if you're actually going to do it, along the journey, it's about being a real, honest, authentic self. So what is your real, authentic self, your true, honest nature of what you are, and representing that? You're here to represent him who sent you. And that's what this is referring to. If you are hesitant or struggling and filled with doubt in any sort of way, you're not being authentic. You're not being honest. You're not being real. You're trying to fabricate and think of what is something good to say. Authenticity is naturally being what you are. That's where and why and the way in which I can teach just like this. I'm being real and authentic and just simply allowing the representation, say, of spirit naturally to flow through. So that's my function. Not everybody is going to be pouring their heart out like this and teaching in this fashion. No, it's what you are designed to be. It naturally happens when you are authentic, real, and honest with yourself. It naturally fits into place. You naturally fit into place. You have a specific reason for existing. You have a specific reason and purpose in this world. And that leads all throughout the journey of that forgiveness so that you can associate and recognize what the truth of God is. You're leading to it. You're going to it by being authentic and real. So if you're thinking that this is somehow about being fake or even suppressing yourself, you're misunderstanding the truth of spirituality. So spirituality often gets distorted into, I need to be completely silent and quiet, even if I feel like I need to speak. And we're not really being real. You're not being authentic, not being true to what you've been designed to be. And so you'll find that your happiness and your function are one is directly in resort to this. Yes, forgiveness all the way out of the world, but you can't forgiveness all the way out of the world until you're real and authentic with what you've been designed to be. You have to be real and authentic in your life to spread it, to let it out, to be it, in order to actually be forgiving. Because your hindrance and your doubt is the lack of forgiveness. These are resentments and grievances. Okay? So when you have doubt and struggle and problems, you are lying if you want to say that you have forgiven the world. You're lying. So you recognize that as you're being true and authentic you really discover, oh, I'm struggling with this thought, I'm struggling with this concept, or I'm struggling being this way, and I feel like I should be, but I can't seem to do it. That's where forgiveness is needed. Okay? So that's part of the world. That's part of the world in which you're trying to forgive. So often people distort A Course in Miracles and say, oh no, it's not about being your unique self, mixing it up with other misunderstood ideas of religions. But in that sense of, yes, that's helpful, but it's along the whole path, along the whole journey to actually getting out of the world. You have to forgive the entirety of what the world is. Everything you think of yourself is part of the world that needs forgiving. Did I say that fun enough? You need to forgive yourself. And remember, forgiving and forgetting is not different. Forgiving yourself is forgetting of yourself. Just like everything in the world that needs to be forgiven is also forgotten. Often there are these struggles with this idea of forgetting and forgiving and forgetting being the same thing, because we get so caught up in, what is the lovely things. I mean, in the same problem that I would say I have in my life as in loving my children and my family. In that sense, if I get misunderstanding what forgiveness is about and what the world is and what isn't the world, it would seem as if I'm leaving my family to die. And this is a misunderstanding, because the ego associates itself, it is the association to separation of beings. And we don't realize that the unification, that oneness, where it all goes back to, is also what all of our family and loved ones are, including who we are. So the forgiveness is really just relinquishing and letting go of the separation concepts everywhere. Right? The separation of being separate people, of separate things, ideas, separate situations. Forgiving of that naturally goes back to unification.